sophomore, junior year, 20 years old. A lot of us were out. It was like, I think, a boxing match night. So a lot of people were out just at the different houses a Friday night throughout Dinkytown. And I remember I was heading over to the lodges back there within Dinkytown with a few people. And it was raining that night. So obviously hitting a jog through Dinkytown, and went around one of the corners throughout Dinkytown and was running, and then just a cop pulls up behind me and the sirens go off, and just get down, it's okay. So about a block away from the lodges, and I get down, and two cops come out, then another car pulls up right behind a couple minutes later, but they just throw me to the ground. Yeah, it wasn't the best feeling, thrown to the sidewalk. So this was a Friday night, so if you've ever been in Dinkytown around the lodges area, you know a lot of people are walking around. So a lot of people did see this occurrence happen. I was thrown to the ground for a good amount of time, and I just got thrown, taking everything out your pockets, throw it to the side, just throw you in the back of the cop car. And they didn't say anything. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what I did. As a black person, you instantly think that you did something wrong. At that time, that was junior year, so I was planning to graduate a year early. So, I mean, I probably wasn't planning to do anything wrong, but instantly I was just worried and just thought it was at the time. And I don't know why there was 4 cops around me laying on the ground when I'm just not saying anything. So they throw me in there, and both of my jeans are ripped and everything's going on, and I don't know what's going on. But then my girlfriend at the time, it took her actually talking, and then another friend of mine, both of which were white, and they were talking to him and figured something out. And I ended up getting out the car about 15 minutes later. Around this time, it's probably about 50 or 60 people just surrounding the cop cars over there. So I get out the car, and they give me my stuff, and they say, "Sorry, there was a guy with a purple hoodie breaking into cars around here. Have a good night." And they left, and that was it. That's all they said. I didn't say anything back because I just been taught not to say anything back to a cop. And everyone just looked at me. A lot of people just consoling me, hugging me, "Are you okay?" I really didn't care anymore at that time. Didn't want to talk to anyone, so I just went home. And at that time, I was just worried. I was scared. I didn't even tell my parents. I just was. They know the problems. My dad's been stopped over, I think, 80 times at this point. As far as just pulling over, he's a chef, so he's always in a lot of upper class neighborhoods, a lot of private events. So he's usually stopped once or twice a month. He's been thrown against a police car in front of our house a few times. So they've lived over 35 years. So I just know that anything can happen. But that was probably the worst and most embarrassing time, just because me, especially being someone who always wanted to be the leader on our team, always wanted to be an athletic leader within our University of Minnesota community. Just that night kind of scarred me for a while, just because of really the embarrassment you have when you don't know what's going on. You're in the back of a car, and I mean, people know me around there, whether it's socially or just sports-wise. So it was just an embarrassing time, and you know, it's a reason why when something like this happens, like George Floyd, it hits home more. Obviously, because my dad's been through so much, because my brothers have been through so much, because I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, where Mike Brown was killed in Ferguson, and I was there that night he was killed. Obviously, a lot of that's a problem, but just because I can look back on that terrible experience in Dinkytown, it's not only tough being around just cops, but even the Minneapolis cops now really have I just have a bad taste in my mouth from them. So when something like this happens to George Floyd, I know exactly what he's going through. I know exactly what it means to get thrown on the ground by cops, and I'm a strong-looking guy. Maybe that cop thought in Dinkytown that night that I needed to be kneed to the ground. So someone like me, it hits really close to home, and every black friend I know has their own different type of story like that. And I've always been put in the best situations by my parents, in the best rooms and scenarios where I don't get put in that situation. And I always did everything I could at the University of Minnesota to kind of uphold my reputation, the reputation of black student athletes. And so knowing that could happen to me in front of that many people, everybody's not perfect, but I know a lot of people that aren't given, unfortunate for all the things that I've been fortunate to have. They're really easily able to be put in that situation. That situation that's really fitting this description.